How's it going, everybody? Welcome back. If you've been with us before, welcome for the first time if you're new to the Gym Range podcast. This is episode 7. We thought we were done with the conference previews, then we decided that we're actually not done with the conference previews. So today we're going to be going through the Big East. This one, I think, will be our last one if things go according to plan. But before we get into the Big East, we just have some quick topics to talk about just from the past week. We usually try to do this at the beginning of every episode to update people on things going on in the college basketball universe. So, Alex, what are some of the things that you wanted to touch on this week?
Kofi Cockburn, I think I said that right. Reportedly, it's not been confirmed. He's also, I believe he has not been confirmed as the player that's reportedly going to be suspended. But all speculation points to him because he sold gear 3 weeks prior to the NBA draft, while I believe he was in the transfer portal before eventually returning back to Champaign for Brad Underwood in Illinois. So hypothetically, let's say he gets that 4-game suspension. He took the money and then he donated it to charity. We're also in the season of NIL. All these athletes are profiting. Spencer Rattler is being endorsed by Canes, Raising Canes, which, I mean, that's football, but anyway. Mark Few's getting suspended for 1 game. So I'm just going to weigh some things here. A $35 Illinois t-shirt versus a .12 or I think it was 0.12, right? 0.119, and then I think it was a 0.12 blood alcohol concentration.
Yep.
Versus selling some Illinois t-shirts, sweatshirts. I'm assuming he probably sold some shoes. Listen, NCAA, some people who know me know how I feel about Mark Emmert. It's a full hate relationship. Do not like the guy. It's ridiculous. And, the NCAA has paused their investigation of Louisville. This is what I don't like about the school sanction suspensions. Like, if we're going to universally have the NCAA choose to suspend somebody, they just need to do it for everything, right? Like, you have Chris Mack serving a 6-game, whatever it is, 6-week, whatever it is, suspension. Got Cockburn 4 games. I don't know who they're playing. We can find that out. I got Mark Few suspended 1 game against little old Dixie State before returning November 13th against Texas.
And then, like,
make it make sense.
Buzz Williams is missing 2, I think.
Yeah, make it make sense.
Yeah.
Make it make sense.
It's just all over the place. The Oklahoma State thing is still going on. A lot of people have kind of agreed, and I agree with this, that at this point it just doesn't make sense to punish them. So, Yeah, it's very inconsistent. It's all over the place. TMZ released the Mark Few body cam video. And I don't know, TMZ is what it is. Like, they kind of sensationalize everything. But not to say that, like, the video is any way acceptable. Like, what Mark Few did was not okay in any way, shape, or form. But there's nothing in that video that, like, surprised me that, like, I didn't expect to see. It wasn't like he got into, like, a fist fight with the police officer. He was just very clearly under the influence and wasn't listening to the police, but wasn't anything too crazy in there that I don't think people didn't already know.
Yeah.
There's the report. There's the review on the Mark Few DUI video. But other stuff. A lot of people are going down with injuries these days.
Yeah.
Baylor lost Langston Love, ACL injury. I just saw that Perkins from St. Louis tore his ACL. He's out for the year. LSU injuries, Georgia injury. Like, a lot of guys getting hurt in the preseason, which is, you hate to see.
Duke injuries. AJ Griffin.
Oh, really?
Yeah, knee injury.
Yeah, so just guys getting hurt left and right. You hate to see it.
Sucks.
Yeah, but that's just, I don't know. There's not really any commentary on that. It just
it sucks. I mean, it's just the nature of it.
Yeah.
And
then you want to talk about the Nick Smith thing, right?
Yeah, Nick Smith, top 10 recruit in the class of 2022. Arkansas High School Athletic Association announced that he will not be able to play for North Little Rock High School this year, his senior year. Now, he played I believe Yeah, I think freshman and junior year, he played at his local high school. His family moved to Little Rock. And just a high school athletics association deemed him ineligible, which I get. And I think I need to separate these two things because I get what the current rules are. And by all accounts, he broke those rules. And I feel like the parents, he knew that, the coaching staff knew that, everyone knew that. What I am saying is 2021. We have rappers starting academies for no good reason. We have guys like Amoni Bates. I get it was in the middle of the pandemic, but he wasn't even playing for Ypsilanti Prep. Like it was under a AU name, but it was basically his high school. Like that doesn't really make a ton of sense to me. I get it. And you're going to suspend this kid who's your poster boy for Arkansas basketball in a state that is football through and through. And he's going to your state school. And I get it. They made a joke about his high profile. And I get what the rules are. But I am saying that something needs to be addressed because it is kind of ridiculous. Because if he wanted to, I'm sure any number of the Southeast programs that are dominant in the country, he could transfer to Montverde, IMG, Oak Hill, any combine, any of them would be happy to have him. He could go to the West Coast, but he clearly wanted to stay in Arkansas, and just it's an unfortunate situation.
Yeah, they are really just like shooting themselves in the foot by not.
And they're getting torn apart on social media too. So
Right. So yeah,
I don't
you
know.
have to ask like, was it really worth it?
I doubt they care, but
Yeah. So that's a really tough situation. But Continuity Academy is accepting its first class, so
yes, we are.
maybe we'll be in Nick Smith's DMs and he'll decide to commit to our new school. But hard to say.
Absolutely.
All right. Yeah, that's gonna wrap it up just for our weekly quick topic discussions. Now we're going to move into our Big East preview for next season. Just a quick reminder, since I didn't say it at the top, we are brought to you by Vendetta Sports Media. Be sure to check out the site, vendettasportsmedia.com, where you can see all our written content on college basketball for this season. Also subscribe to the YouTube channel. It's where our episodes will be in video format. So let's move into the Big East. As with the rest of our conference previews, we are going from bottom to top. What the ranking that you will see here is the composite of me and Alex's rankings. So yeah, we're going to start at the bottom of the conference, move our way up. And number 11 should come as no surprise to anybody, but it is DePaul. It is the DePaul Blue Demons, I think, is their
It is the mascot. Blue Demons.
That's a sick mascot, but at the same time, the team is not good.
No, it's rough.
I don't know. There's not really much to say about DePaul because they're just, I don't know. I think they're in a clear tier by themselves at the very bottom. They have a new head coach. They've had, I think, a few head coaches in the last couple of years, but it's just not a great roster. I'm sort of interested to see what Freeman Liberty does. Javon Freeman Liberty. He's a senior, averaged 14 points a game last year. He's a nice piece to have, but just the rest of this roster is just really, really not good. This is probably one of the 3 or 4 worst programs that we've talked about in all of our conference previews, right there with Georgia. Yeah, just really scraping the bottom of the barrel. So I don't think anything really needs to be said about DePaul. I think most places are projecting them to finish last, and that is a completely fair place to put them based on the talent that they have.
Yes. The only thing I would add, and this has nothing to do with the team, shout out the Athletic. They pulled 14 Big East players, and in an excellent troll job, 3 of them said that DePaul was going to win the Big East. So shout out to whoever those 3 players were that took the rest of the poll seriously.
Imagine if DePaul does win the Big East. That'd be like when Leicester City won the Premier League. It'd be unreal.
I mean,
Maybe
I'm willing to. I'd put money against it, but
yeah. All right, moving on from DePaul. Number 10, Georgetown. So Georgetown were the darlings of the Big East last year, sort of, I guess, if you want to put it that way. They stole a bid by winning the Big East tournament. There was no way they were getting in without that. And Patrick Ewing just kind of put together some late season magic it didn't carry over to the tournament. They lost in the first round to Colorado. And they lost Qudus Wahab to transfer. He's with the Maryland Terrapins now. They lost a couple other guys from last year's team. And last year's team, in all honesty, wasn't, other than that little Big East tournament run, wasn't that great to begin with. So it's hard to really say how,
It was a poor man's UCLA run in the same year.
Yeah.
It was a poor man's UCLA run.
Yeah. It was a poor man's like Oregon State run. Because like Oregon State
that's fair.
Did the same
that
thing.
Comparison's better.
Except they backed it up. That's the thing.
That comparison's better.
Yeah, Georgetown didn't back it up. And so I don't, do you have any like sort of details on Georgetown?
Aminu Muhammad, probably along with him and Ryan Nemhard at Creighton, probably the consensus two front runners for Big East freshman of the year. Shooting guard, 6'5", 5-star, can shoot the ball. He's good offensively. He's really good on the defensive side of the ball. His shooting didn't blow me away when watching film, but he can. I mean, he's going to knock down a couple of threes probably a game. But he get off the bounce, which is typical of like those 6'5", 5-star guards. He's good around the rim. So they're going to rely on him offensively because their highest returning scorer averaged 8 a game. So we'll see what he does with the ball in his hands. Ryan Mutombo, another freshman, probably leaps into the starting five in that front court. Again, son of a great center. So pressure's on, but that's Georgetown.
Yeah. Last year, Georgetown, they finished with a top 40 Ken Palm offense, but were, I think, like 100 in the 120s for adjusted defense, which is sort of interesting to think about because they have a lot of size on their roster, and you'd think that they'd kind of be able to leverage that into like something approaching like a physical defensive identity that would kind of throw some teams off guard, but they didn't do that. And so they kind of return some guys and bring in some new guys who are still, they have physical guys, they got athletes, they got really strong players, but if they don't turn that into something valuable on the defensive end, then it doesn't really matter. Yeah, so we can move on. Let's move on to number 9, which is Marquette Golden Eagles.
Yeah. New coach, Shaka Smart, a lot of moving pieces. That's why it's a little tough because on paper you've got talented guys, but you do bring in what is it? 1, 2, 3, 4. You bring in 6 freshmen along with 4 transfers. So that's 10 new guys to a roster of probably 13. So you've got Morcell, who will immediately challenge Posh Alexander for DPOY in the Big East. That will be one of the most exciting races in the country. But I mean, it's going to be whether or not Shaka Smart can put the pieces together somewhat early. And, I'm a little hesitant. We kind of talk, we preach on continuity. They don't have that. So, I mean, you know Daryl Morcell better than I do. So I'll let you speak on him and his impact. But
yeah. So I'll touch on first. I think this is a great spot for Shaka Smart to be, in all honesty, because I think the expectations are definitely not as high as they were with Texas. I think that was something that he suffered from at Texas, was he was bringing in all these 4 or 5-star guys, but it was very hard, I think, to live up to the expectations there. And he didn't do a good job of that at all anyway. Like, he didn't win a tournament game. So a lot of that is still on him. But I do think this is a good job for him because it's a little more high profile, I think, than VCU when he took over that job. But a lot below the expectations of Texas. So I'd like to see just sort of in the coming years what he does with, like you said, he's bringing a lot of new guys. So I'm curious to see like who he keeps around and how he builds this program from, they've been somewhat respectable in the last couple of years. Like, they've been in the tournament as a top 5, top 6 seed. But in recent years have really just kind of fallen apart. as for Daryl Morcell,
Yes.
the guy, very sad that he did not return to Maryland because he's a hometown guy and was really a spark plug for our team. He was the Big Ten Defensive Player of the Year last year. Just phenomenal perimeter defender, and just really high effort player. So I think he will. I was sort of curious by his decision to transfer to Marquette, because I think had he returned to Maryland, we would have seen, some higher projections for the Terrapins for this year. But nevertheless, he's a big piece for Marquette to have. He's a veteran. He'll buy into Shaka Smart's defensive game plan, and he, as far as like offense goes, he's fine. He's not the most like consistent shooter or anything, but the real value he provides will be on the defensive end for Marquette.
Yes.
Cool. Next up from Marquette, we had two tied, I believe. So we'll talk about Providence first, since not really for any reason, but you had Providence at 8.
I had Providence at 8.
I had Providence at 7. So tell me why you think Providence, sort of why you flip-flopped Creighton and Providence.
Well, I think it's more so my belief in Creighton's freshmen in that class, and it has to do with anything on Providence roster besides replacing David Duke, which is a massive loss that you're going to have to figure out immediately who's going to take up that production, because Nate Watson cannot shoulder the load all year. Can't expect that of him. You got to have another guy who's going to be a double-digit scorer. I can speak more to Creighton because I don't think either Creighton or Providence is better than who I have in the top 6. So they were kind of battling it out for that 7-8 position. And, going against, maybe you can change your mind. Inevitably everyone changes their mind, but I do have a little bit higher belief in Creighton's freshmen than a lot of people. But Providence, again, we know what they are. They'll be really strong defensively. I feel like pretty mediocre offensively.
Yeah.
And they'll be a bubble team. So they'll probably eke out a win against the St. John's, Villanovas this year. There's so many question marks for me. So, yeah.
Yeah. So my thoughts on Providence, since they were my 7. Defensively, we kind of know what we're getting. They were a top 30 defense last year. It really does just come down to questions about the offensive side of the ball and who is going to step up and be a consistent scorer, whether their shots fall this year, because last year they really didn't. They weren't very consistent with that. What kind of offensive sets they run, whether they kind of look to run some pick and roll more, or just kind of what the activity looks like on that side, because I think what they suffered from was falling into these really stagnant half-court sets where like there wasn't really a ton of activity. They're kind of just taking bad shots, and but I'm curious to see what Nate Watson does, but it can't just be him. It has to be preferably somebody in the backcourt who steps up. So we'll see if Jared Bynum or Al Durham from Indiana steps up to be that guy. AJ Reeves maybe too, but there has to be somebody other than Nate Watson to really make this team go. And but yeah, we'll talk about Creighton, because I am kind of getting into some negatives for Providence that might lead you to believe that they won't be as good as Creighton. But we'll talk about that. So let's talk about Creighton.
The first thing, if we're jumping from a team that is super stagnant offensively in Providence, it's the polar opposite at Creighton. They swing the ball at such a clip. They have defenses chasing on their heels at all times. Again, it's the freshman class. Your leading returning scorer is Ryan Kalkbrenner at 5.9, so 6 points a game. He's your 7-1 center. You do bring in Ryan Hawkins, who was an elite scorer at the Division II level. Alex O'Connell, I think he had like 22 points in their latest scrimmage a couple days ago. 20 points.
For however much stock you want to put in.
Transfer from Duke, a little partial to him. I can tell you, super inconsistent.
Yeah.
Defensively, he was always getting beat on backdoors. Wasn't really great in man-to-man, but offensively, he'll help. He'll spread the floor, and he can knock down shots.
Yeah.
But
he's got bunnies too.
He does. He can. Yeah. He can jump. He can jump the best.
So he'll be good for like one electric dunk this year, I think, that'll get posted on like House of Highlights where.
And us, we'll post it too.
Oh, of course. Yeah, we'll post it. Yeah. But
with the bunny emoji, absolutely. It'll be posted.
With the bunny
emoji.
Yes.
Exclamation points.
Yeah.
Thunderous. I don't really know.
Not rocket science.
That's the caption. Science. Absolutely not. But I'm a big fan of Ryan Nembhard. He's ran that Montverde offense, which is essentially, I mean, everyone knows who Montverde is. If you don't, it's a just national prep powerhouse. Turns out collegiate players, 5 stars, 4 stars, doesn't matter. I'm fairly confident every roster that they have, everyone has a Division I offer. Nembhard was running offenses with Caleb Houston now at Michigan. He's played with elite talent before, and it makes me believe that I think he can run this team out of the gate. Offensive, like creative-wise, he's phenomenal. His sole offensive game, he can certainly get to the rim. He doesn't blow me away as a shooter. But you've also got Arthur Kaluma in the front court, Mason Miller as well, power forward, Trey Alexander, Rati. I'm not even going to try to butcher his last name.
Yeah.
Both are freshmen.
Right.
I think I'm betting on them. It's a massive freshman class, and if it doesn't pan out, this will come back to bite me. And hopefully someone splices up this clip because we have a following and they bully me on social media. So at least we have. Anyway, that's Creighton.
Yeah. I like your take just on their freshmen kind of delivering. These are the 4 or 5 best recruits that McDermott has ever had, that Creighton has ever had. So you'd like to think that like at least one of them pans
out.
Right. So I think betting on that is not a bad bet at all. I think O'Connell steps up this year and has probably a larger role. I'm not saying he'll score like, 12 points a game, but like I think
he gets 8, that's good.
Yeah. Like I think we'll see more of him and he'll just be fun to watch. And we'll see what we get out of Kalkbrenner after he averaged 5 last year. 7-1 he never hurts. Yeah, he's good defensively. And they lose Marcus Zagorowski, who was the engine of last year's Sweet 16 team. Yeah, Sweet 16 team. So that's definitely a blow for sure, losing him. He was a great player. They lose Denzel Mahoney as well. Christian Bishop transferred to Texas. So they do lose a lot, but I think assuming McDermott gets some of these freshmen to buy in and stick around, that they won't always be this low. I think they'll be back in the future.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, next up, number 6, Butler, the Butler Bulldogs. Formerly, everyone's favorite mid-major program. Yeah,
nightmares about that shot.
Back when Brad Stevens, yeah, that was imagine one of the biggest what ifs ever.
No, don't know. I can't. I can't.
But anyway, they're pretty good offense, kind of decent defensively. And I haven't looked as far as like what their continuity looks like, to be honest with you.
Continuity is amazing.
Because that's, of course, the biggest thing.
So. They return their starting lineup projected is return. It would be 56 points of production from last season's team.
That's
so.
Okay. Well, there you go.
And then your top 2 bench scores, 14 also total, and then Ty Gross from Eastern Michigan. So that's your 8.
Wait, was this a tournament?
Butler was awful last year.
They were. Okay, I was
trying to finish just above DePaul.
Oh, okay. See, I was trying to think like
they were horrific.
Back. Okay. I was trying to think back. I was like mixing up my years between like
you're good.
When they were like a tournament team versus when they were terrible. So last year was the year that they were awful. Okay.
Yes.
Glad because I was scared for a second that I just like had
you're good.
Because they were like a 5 seed in the tournament the year before that. So yeah. All right. I just had it mixed up. But anyway, horrendous. They were horrendous last year. All that to say, they were really bad. So those metrics I was talking about earlier, completely wrong. They were horrible offensively. They went from a like top 25 offense in 2020 to not even sniffing the top 150 in 2021. So, but hey, continuity's cool. We love to see it. Yeah, bring back a bunch of double-digit guys. So, yeah, good for them. Good for them. Good for Butler. But as far as, do you have like a kind of tournament projection for them? Like we've said that teams below them are bubble teams. So like, would you characterize Butler as another bubble team?
I mean, it's
Because like I don't see the Big East getting 7 bids.
No, not with the ACC. ACC is not as deep as they have been. ACC is still going to get 7 in at least. SEC is supremely deep, so they could push 8, maybe. I think it's 8. Big Ten probably 7 plus. So I mean, those are most of your at-large bids. I can't see them getting more than like 5, definitely. Butler's probably that confirmed bubble team, and then Creighton and Providence are going to like be the ones like Joe Lunardi is going to have them, I don't know, 72 to like 78 maybe for a little bit. And then maybe if they sneak out a win against Villanova or UConn or Xavier in February and March, plus a good Big East tournament run.
Yeah.
But yeah,
because they'll get one. They always win one of those home games against a better team.
Yeah, the Big East just beats up on each other. Mm-hmm. So, but yeah. Butler is the Big East bubble team.
Mm-hmm.
I'll say that.
Oh, yeah, looking back, kind of thinking about last year, ran a lot of pick and roll, couldn't shoot, and couldn't play defense to save their life. So I think, but we have a lot of confidence in, I think, what they bring back this year and their ability to, like last year was just weird. Like they
had injuries too.
It was weird that they were that bad with
injuries,
kind of what they had. Injuries. Yeah, that's true. Injuries was also a big issue for them too. Yeah, so I think putting them in the middle of the conference is probably a pretty safe evaluation, especially given the teams that are below them. Like, yeah,
they're better, and they're not. They're better than those teams, but they're not better than the next 5.
Correct. They're almost like they're a tier by themselves. Butler is. I would say. But all right, moving on. Number 5, we got Seton Hall.
I don't know where to start. You want to start with Seton Hall?
So they got Kadary Richmond from Syracuse. That's cool.
Yes.
Like, I don't even know, because I guess on paper, I'm gonna be honest, like I don't love Seton Hall. But at the same time, I wouldn't be surprised if they finish 3rd in the conference. Like I kind of just don't really know like where to put this team. It's
the Big East.
I could really go back and forth. Oh, and they have Bryce Aiken too. I forgot about him.
Yeah.
Because he was like a very highly touted transfer and last year and wasn't healthy from whatever.
No.
Yeah. So yeah, hopefully he's, healthier this year and can actually make an impact, because people really liked him when he was transferring from Harvard. It was Harvard, right?
I think so.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I like him. I kind of like what he can do from a shot making perspective and just as a ball handler. Yeah, but if his health's an issue, then it might not even matter.
So, it's wraps.
Yeah.
I don't know. They struggled like so many teams did last year, but their tempo was horrendous. I don't know what it was, because Kevin Willard's teams normally do not rank. I think it was I believe it was in the 260s.
264.
264.
Yep.
Okay, that was their adjusted tempo, which no, can't happen.
Yeah.
But Jared Roden, returning starter, 15 points a game, 7 rebounds. Ike Obiaju, I hope I said that right. He returns, figures to start in that front court. And again, they're better than Butler.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with you in that regard. They're better than Butler. They're somewhere in this like 2 to 5, maybe not 2, 3 to 5 range. Yeah. They're 3 to 5.
I'd agree with you. I think some of these teams that we're going to talk about, I'd kind of evaluate them pretty similarly, just as far as like where I'd project them to finish.
Yeah.
And I think Seton Hall is a tournament team. I think I don't have a problem with saying that they're a tournament team.
Probably like a 10 seed.
Yeah. I think their floor is easily out of the tournament. But I think like ceiling, like I don't know, 7 seed.
Ceiling maybe 8 seed.
7, 8. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, it does, because last year was such a weird year, it is hard to evaluate, in all honesty. But I think we're both kind of expecting them to rebound and be much improved. I mean, if their tempo is still that bad though, like there's only so much you can do on offense when you're not getting possessions. So
yeah.
Cool. Next up, St. John's, the Red Storm.
Yes.
Another cool mascot out of the Big East. But I think right off the bat, we have to talk about Julian Champagnie, right?
Of course.
Easily the best player on this team.
Without a doubt. Miles.
Yeah, 19-7 last year. He was awesome. Potentially, he's probably going to be on the thumbnail for this episode, to be honest with you.
Better be.
Yeah. So
with Jay Wright.
Yeah, and Jay Wright. That's right. So, yeah, but I mean, Champagnie is going to lead this team. I think if people are projecting that he takes a step up from what he did last year, like even if he stays the same, like I think St. John's is fine. I think they'll be okay. But if he takes a step up, like we're talking Big East Player of the Year. We're talking like,
third team All-American maybe.
Really? I mean,
no, I'm just throwing it out there.
Yeah.
I feel like if you're Big East Player of the Year and you beat out Colin Gillespie, you should make an All-American team. Yeah,
I mean, we'll talk about Colin Gillespie, and I have thoughts on Colin Gillespie. Not bad, just realistic.
Just thoughts.
Yeah, I'll try to be realistic, but I don't remember. I'm going to be honest. I don't remember. Did St. John's? They were like a first 4 out or something, right? Last year.
Yeah, they did not make it.
Yeah, they didn't make it. Okay, that's what I thought. Were they? They were like an NIT. Did they lose to?
I know they were 69th in Ken Palm.
Yeah. So okay, I don't. If you miss the tournament, chances are I don't really remember a lot about how your season went. Yeah. So other than Champagnie, though, they have some really nice pieces. They bring in
Posh Alexander.
Yeah, Posh Alexander is going to be nice as a returner. Sophomore, he averaged 10 points a game as a freshman.
DPOY last year. Co-DPOY.
Yeah, he's also dude plays defense too. Like average like just under 3 steals a game or something.
Yes. I remember watching their game against Villanova. I've never seen someone embarrass Colin Gillespie like he did. Like I was so shocked.
Yeah. It's very hard to rattle Colin Gillespie. He's such like a polished college player. So for someone to be giving him problems, like I think that does say a lot just about, what he brings to the table defensively. Other transfers, they bring in Aaron Wheeler from Purdue. He's probably like the transfer from like the best program that comes in, I guess. Montez Mathis from Rutgers.
Yep.
8 points a game, veteran.
Coburn. That's the critical piece.
You think so? Do you think it? Do you
well,
think
yeah, he has to be.
You think
you've got your clear 1-2 punch in Champagnie and Alexander, and you're gonna need one of Coburn, Wheeler, or Mathis to offer that third option, 12 probably points a game. Maybe score more than Alexander, but because Alexander's gonna be tasked with running and creating that entire offense. But yeah, so Coburn or Mathis. If Coburn can keep the same numbers he had with Hofstra, this team's golden. This team is probably – I'm high on them. Would not be shocked if they end up second. Dark horse to win the Big East altogether.
Yep.
They're going to need that. They're going to need some luck if that happens, but yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I think with Champagnie and Alexander, you don't need Coburn that takes a lot of pressure off Coburn to have to like create for himself. Like he can really just spot up and hit shots. Like I think that might be all he really needs to do. But he has the ability to create his own shot if he needs to. So just an added bonus, honestly. And I think, you know, if this team hits their ceiling, I think a lot of it will be due to how he plays. Cool. Next up, number 3, Xavier.
Cool.
The Musketeers. I was listening to, I think it was the Heat Check podcast, Hope and Ralph. They had Lucas Harkins on, who's a big Butler guy, to talk Big East, and he brought up a good point about Xavier. It's like every year, it's like kind of hard to know what you're getting, just because one year they'll be great offensively, horrible defensively. The next year they'll be a great defensive team and can't hit shots to save their life, and then it just kind of flip flops. Like they don't really have an identity. But as far as just like pure talent goes, I like this team. I like this team a lot. I think Zach Freemantle is going to be awesome. Paul Scruggs, great to have him back using his extra year. I think there's a lot to like with this team. I think, like St. John's, I think their ceiling is second in the conference. Like I think these like these 2 through 5 teams that we're talking about could all finish second. Like I think they all have a case to finish second in the conference. They're kind of all in a similar tier in my eyes.
Yeah, that worked. Yeah, I think you hit it.
Yeah.
Fremantle, Scruggs, and Nate Johnson. That's your big 3. And we'll see how they fare in the gauntlet that'll be the Big East this season. So, but they pass the ball at a great rate. They do turn the ball over more, or not more. Great passing team. Yeah, you hit it. I feel like you hit Xavier.
Pressure's on though for Travis Steele for sure. He hasn't made the tournament in his 3 or 4 years with the program, and before with Chris Mack, they were a 1 seed at one point. Like they were that like type of team.
2018. Oh.
Yeah, well, like wasn't even that long ago, and so yeah, they need to start getting back to the NCAA tournament, or else the Steele era might be in some jeopardy for sure. But that said, they have the pieces. They have the pieces to make it happen. Cool. Number 2, UConn.
Yes. Shout out my high school basketball coach. I would walk into his class and he had a framed image, big UConn fan, big Northeast guy. He had a framed image of Simba and Mufasa watching the sunset. And it had Simba's quote, and he said, "Dad, what's it like to lose?" Or like, "Dad, what is that horizon?" And it was like losing in a NCAA tournament final. And he's like, "I don't know. It's never happened." And that's irked me for a while, and I just wanted to say it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's my beef with UConn. It's less of a beef than I have with UNC and Maryland, but I do have some frustrations about UConn. I love Dan Hurley though. If this is the year, this would be the year if something materializes and everything goes amazingly. I think maybe I'm speaking for someone else, but I mean, I don't want to pronounce his name wrong. Acock, or is it Acock?
Yeah,
Acock?
I've heard it both ways.
Okay, so both ways. Had an Achilles tear, so hard to come back from. Arguably, I would say it's harder than an ACL.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was maybe Jeff Goodman who said to watch out because he looked great in the scrimmages and practices he saw while he was in stores. So potential. I mean, he's not listed as a starter on 3-man weaves preview. RJ Cole's back, 12 points a game scored. Tyrese Martin is 2. You lost Bouknight, so the biggest question is gonna be, how do you replace that scoring? Bouknight, for whatever questionable shot selection he may have had, he was instant offense for that team. So you have to replace it for guys that relied solely on his creation. But Sonogo is a good piece that I think he makes a step up this year. Isaiah Whaley. It's a starting 5 where it's almost like you could make a case for all of them to be somewhat like breakout players in any sort of a sense.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, oh, like this UConn team, now they've got guys averaging 16, 14, whatever it is. But I don't know. Floor, 10 seed, ceiling 5, push 4.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think this is probably a borderline top 25 team also.
Yeah. What are they? 24th in the AP preseason?
Are they? Yeah,
they're ranked. They're definitely ranked.
Okay. Yeah, I just think I think it's fair to not have them ranked, but I think if that's the case, I think you have to have them like 27, 28-ish at the lowest.
Yeah.
But yeah, you hit it. I think the biggest thing will be who steps up without Bouknight, because thinking back to last year, I remember this team was going nowhere fast before Bouknight came back. And then when he came back, like the whole dynamic changed and they suddenly became like a
15-8, right?
very good team. Yeah, like they really stepped it up and kind of went to the moon a little bit until I honestly predicted my bracket had them beating Maryland in the first round. And I think maybe winning another game. But they lost to Maryland, so it didn't matter.
Yeah.
But hey, when you pick against your team, either you're right or your team wins. So there you go.
What?
If you pick, listen, I didn't.
If you pick against your team, you're either right or you're wrong, and one will make you happy and one won't. Is that what that statement was?
Well, no, I'm saying like, okay, so if I
get it.
I picked UConn to beat Maryland.
Yeah.
I was wrong, but Maryland won. So it made up for the fact that I was wrong because I picked against my team. Is that crazy? Is that crazy to think? I legitimately didn't think Maryland was going to win, though.
No, but I've accepted that Duke is just going to make me – Duke's going to just heartbreaking loss. I just feel it.
I can't wait. Listen, no, this isn't bad. I can't wait for our week 1 reaction episode on either side of like no matter what Duke does, because either they lose and it's just like miserable, or they win and it's like by like 30 and we're just like freaking out like, oh, Duke is gonna run the table this year.
It would. Oh my gosh, I can't. Oh no.
Yeah, but that'll be fun. Who do they play their big games early? Do they play Kentucky?
Got Kentucky Champions Classic November 9th.
Nice.
Logistically did not work out. I was trying to make it work.
Would
not happen.
Fun. Write it off as a company expense or something.
Yeah. Oh, Trey? Question mark?
I don't think Trey just got back from Vegas. He doesn't want
he's still in the airport. They've got Kentucky, and then they've got like a 5-game slate before they play Gonzaga. And then they travel immediately after to Columbus for Ohio State. So you got 3 top 17 teams in the country.
Yeah, we're going to learn a lot about them in the first couple of weeks. A lot. But
you know what we don't have to learn? We're getting off topic.
Yeah.
I'm going to say it now. We don't have to learn that Powell is better than Chet. We don't need to learn that. It will be November 26th.
We'll see.
I'm watching with leftover Thanksgiving food. You will all be eating turkey. And Paolo Banchero will be feasting against Chet Holmgren. It's going to backfire.
I'm starting to buy in, though, on Paolo being, like, the guy.
Yeah.
I really am. And
29-12 against our number 1 Big East team.
Yeah. I'm drinking the stupid blue Kool-Aid that you're force-feeding me every episode, but
pre-episode. This was the first time aside from the ACC preview I said it in episode.
Okay. Well, anyway, we gotta stay on topic here. We gotta move to our number 1 team in the Big East, Villanova. I don't think this should be a surprise to anybody.
Best coach in the country.
Really? You think so?
Yeah.
I mean, he has what? He has 2 titles in the last.
He's the best coach in the country.
5 years. Okay. That's just interesting coming from you.
Was that a hot take?
No, that's just interesting coming from you.
What do you mean? How? I mean, I get it. I love Coach K.
Yeah. Okay.
I'd say Jay Wright's the best coach in the country.
Okay. Yeah, I think there are tons of people who would agree with you. I just was surprised that you would say that. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, so Villanova last year, 5 seed. I think they won their first game in the tournament, then lost their second game. Were they a Sweet 16 team? I don't really know. I just remember Colin Gillespie got hurt, and that kind of sent this team down the tubes because he was.
He can't do it all.
Yeah, like
JRE.
Yeah, and Well, so he tried. Like, he really tried to. Yeah, Jeremiah Robinson-Earl tried to do it all for this team, but he really wasn't able to at the end of the day. He's gone now. So that's kind of a big factor to look at for this Villanova team is what they look like without him, because so much of what they were last year was because of him. And Gillespie's back. I'll just give my thoughts on Gillespie. The AP put him as a preseason All-American. I think, we're talking about Paolo. I'd actually put Paolo in there above Gillespie. I'm not going to lie.
That makes me happy.
I'm not going to lie. Like, I'd legitimately do it because part of it too is I think we're projecting a lot of what Gillespie looks like this year. He has gotten better every single season that he's been at Villanova. And that's great. But also he's coming off like a horrible injury. And so maybe I'm making too much of it. Maybe I'm making too much of it.
3 weeks ago, this is where I'll disagree with you. 3 weeks ago, I would have been right in line with that statement. I've watched the Duke Villanova highlights from their closed scrimmage because apparently now you can just release tape, which I'm grateful for. Thank you for doing it.
Yeah.
Made me happy. But he looked all right. Coming off of high pick and rolls.
Okay.
He looked good attacking the rim. He finished a couple of times over Mark Williams and Theo John. I don't know if he made a three, but again, it was mostly like Duke highlights anyway. So and they were really attacking the Justin Moore Trevor Keels matchup because it seemed whenever I was seeing it was a Justin Moore highlight reel. So I don't know. Trevor Keels projected as one of the better wing defenders for Duke. So I think it says a lot of Moore was just having a field day. But yeah, I don't know. I like Gillespie, but I'm not sure I see him as more than a 15 points a game scorer. Like he's really good, like 15, maybe 6 and 4. But I don't really see him being a guy who's going to go and get you. He can go and get you like 18 plus on any night. I don't see that as being a consistent theme all season.
Yeah.
So
that's kind of where I am too, especially because I think Justin Moore and Jermaine Samuels have pretty big roles this year.
Good offensive upside, yeah.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of offensive upside with this team to where Gillespie doesn't really need to score that many points. And so just by virtue of like the lack of necessity, I don't think that he does. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know that. I think he's one of the best guards in the country for sure. But I don't know that I'd put him as a preseason All-American necessarily.
So it's a UCLA-esque hesitance for you.
A little bit.
Okay.
A little bit.
I can take that. I have questions about their front court.
Listen, I've had a lot of takes already in the 6-7 episodes that we've done, and I'm going to be wrong about probably 90% of the things that I've said. So at this point, like, it's just another thing for me to be wrong about. Gillespie's going to score 25 points a game probably, and
oh my gosh, can you imagine?
National Player of the Year. Just because I had to come out and say something, but
yeah.
Yeah, they had a ton of injuries last year and still made the Sweet 16, and so that says a lot about Jay Wright. And
without a doubt.
I mean, yeah, like they could have easily just rolled over and not accomplished anything, but they still, they got a banner out of it. So
yeah, and
there you go.
The Cole Swider transfer kind of hurts. He's at Syracuse now. He'll be an excellent shooter for that team. So that the one thing, like setting aside everything, I was a big fan of Brian Antoine in high school. Like, used to watch all of his tape. He's had some nagging, terrible injuries. I would like to see him have a great year. Like, if that's my one wish for the Big East, I'd like to see him play to the level I know he can play.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the one thing to look at too with this team is like they don't have like a Sadiq Bey. They don't have like a Jeremiah Robinson-Earl. Like, they don't have like an NBA guy necessarily, and I feel like they have had that in years past. Like, even Ryan Arcidiacono, NBA guy. So I'm curious to see, like, and here's the thing. I'm saying that now, but maybe by season's end we say, like
Justin Moore.
Obviously, yeah, like of course it was him. Like he was the guy, but yeah, I'm sort of curious. I think Big East wise, I think easily the top team. I think
Yeah.
where my concerns come in with them is probably more on like a national level and what
I
they
get
look
that.
like stacked up against the other top teams in the country. Whereas in that case, I might not be as confident in them, but I think as far as the Big East goes, they're going to be fine. They're going to be good.
Yeah, I was trying to find who they play early. I know they play Tennessee. So that Tennessee in November. Yeah, they play UCLA the 12th of November.
Yeah.
So we'll know they've got UCLA and Tennessee in November. We'll know from that alone.
Yeah.
And then they've got Baylor too in December.
UCLA Villanova is the fraud bowl. All right. Whoever loses is a fraud. Whoever wins is legit. Okay.
You don't want to save that for the hot take episode?
Well, no, I got spicier takes than that. I'm just saying that because Villanova and UCLA are two teams that I've not been as high on as maybe some other people, and so we're just going to say that whoever wins that game, I'll take the L on, and whoever loses, I'm sticking with them as being a fraud.
Okay.
Yeah. So, all right, that's our Big East preview. Let's quickly wrap up with our first team prediction. I'll go Gillespie. I'll go Champagnie. Locks for those two. Let's go. I'm gonna go Zach Fremantle, Xavier.
Oh, I like that.
That's 3. I'm gonna go. I feel like we need another Nova guy in there. The question is it Justin Moore or Jermaine Samuels?
Flip a coin.
I'll go Samuels because he's a senior.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the tiebreaker for me. I don't really know. I don't know which one of them ends up being number 2 on that team, but okay, that's 4. And then RJ Cole.
Oh,
maybe.
Okay.
Is that too high? Is that too high of a bar? Oh, Scruggs. Paul Scruggs, Xavier.
Yeah, I was saying Scruggs, but
okay. So I guess that's our 5. Gillespie.
No, I was flipping Justin Moore and Jermaine Samuels. Oh wait, and I was going Nate Watson at Providence instead of
Fremantle.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fair. I'd probably put him second team, but I'd put Fremantle first team.
Yeah.
Although according to some of these preseason first teams, you can just have 12 guys on it.
11. It was 11.
Was it 11 for who? The Big Ten?
Big Ten. It was 11.
Just we should have been doing that the whole time instead of agonizing over who to put. We just put everybody.
Oh my gosh. The Big Ten just decided to put the 11 best players, and they're like, screw it.
Yeah. Just anybody we said anything positive about, we'll just put first team.
Ridiculous.
And then freshman of the year, I don't even know.
Oh, I'm going Nembhard.
I'd agree with you. I think Nembhard.
Although, Amina Muhammad. It's solely, I think, because Creighton is better than Georgetown. But Muhammad could absolutely be freshman of the year.
Yeah, I'm going to go Nembhard just because I think he's better. So
I like Nembhard.
Yeah.
I like Nembhard.
And then defensive player of the year, Daryl Marcel, book it.
Posh Alexander, book it again. Run it back.
Okay.
Run it back.
All right, sure. Yeah. I think
4 steals a game.
Those will be the 2 guys.
No, that's too much. 4 steals? Oh.
That's a lot.
I would be so impressed.
They're just passing him the ball. He's like Trayvon Diggs for the Cowboys. They're just throwing it directly to him.
So if that equates, then Posh Alexander is going to give up like 18 points a game, but have 5 steals.
Yeah, fair enough. Maybe bad comparison.
Just blowing coverages, pick 6, and then giving up a 75-yard touchdown.
Yeah. He's just going to stand directly in the passing lanes, but not actually guard anybody. That's what he'll do to get 4 or 5 steals a game.
Okay.
Sure. But anyway, that's going to wrap it up for us.
Before we close it out.
Yes.
Adem Bona, top 20 player, class of 2022, will announce his decision November 1st. So Monday. Is it Kentucky or is it UCLA?
I'm going to go UCLA. I think things are trending in the UCLA direction. That's just what I think.
Yeah. I think it's UCLA.
You think it's UCLA?
And then I think Mark Mitchell ends up at UCLA because of that. Makes me sad.
Yeah. So,
but I don't want him at Kentucky. So,
right. Yeah. Of course.
UCLA it is.
Yeah. Cool. yeah, so keep an eye out for that, everybody. That's going to wrap it up for us. Yeah, for me, for Alex, this was brought to you by Vendetta Sports Media. Sure to check out the site, subscribe to the YouTube, follow the Twitch, follow us on Spotify,
Twitter.
follow us on Twitter at Jim
Yes.
Pod.
Follow us on Twitter.
Our Twitter, when the season starts, our Twitters, you're going to want us in your timeline. You're going to want us in your timeline. That's all.
I don't know if you want me to live tweet a new basketball game, but I think that would be funny.
Maybe we will. Maybe we'll pick like a game of the week and live tweet it or something.
Oh yeah, that's a good idea.
Maybe we'll do that. It'll just be Duke and Maryland games all year.
Maybe a Northwestern game if I'm frustrated.
Oh,
which
sure.
will happen this season.
Mm-hmm.
But shout out Tristan, NBA social media guy for Vendetta.
Oh yeah,
he wanted this preview. We got it.
I hope it
reaches expectations.
He asked us.
He's been killing it. Just wanted to shout him out.
We spoke positively about St. John's, so I think he'll like that.
It's fair.
But yeah, he does a good job with our clips, and we have a great team of people that allow us to do this. So thank you to you guys. Thank you to all of you for watching, listening, all that stuff. We will see you next time.